and welcome to my channel. This is Makeup by Mackenzie and I'm Mackenzie, obviously. Today on Makeup 101 we're going to be talking about the wonderful world of lipstick. This should be fun. I feel like lipstick is a really great way to express yourself and your personality, and it really doesn't take a whole lot of artistic skill in order to get something that looks really nice. Also, it's one of those things that there's just a ton of it out there, and you used to only be able to find kind of more traditional shades like reds and plums and things like that, but now you can find things like blues and silvers. You can find all sorts of different types of lipsticks out there, and you don't have to go to the high-end section to get it either. So everything that I'm going to be mentioning in this video is from the drugstore. I will have all of the products that I mentioned listed down below. So without any further ado, let's play with some makeup, shall we? Okay, so let's get started talking about lipstick. So the lipstick typically comes in two forms. It comes in either cream or a liquid form. So let's talk about cream for a minute. And cream basically looks like it's going to come in a bullet format. So something like this. This is like your traditional lipstick. Like when you think of lipstick, this is what you think of. So it's going to look something like that. Now a liquid is typically going to come in a tube like this. And it'll have a applicator like this. This is a little doe foot applicator. And so you'll be able to put it on sort of like that, and then it will dry down. So as you can see, the result is not that different, but it really all depends on the finish that you want. And I find that the creams tend to be easier to work with than the liquids. So if you're brand new to lipstick, I highly recommend starting off with a cream. I just find that they're easier to use and they don't get nearly as messy sometimes as liquid lipsticks can get. So let's start talking about finishes, because I think that's the most important thing. Whether you're getting a cream or a liquid, the finish of the lipstick is really what I think people tend to get a little bit confused about. Lipsticks typically come in matte, satin, or gloss finishes. So what does that mean? We talked about the matte finish when we talked about eyeshadows, and I'll have that video linked up here for you so that you can check that out. But matte finish basically means it is devoid of any shine. So it's basically just the pigment. So it's not going to have glitter, it's not going to have shimmer, it's not going to have shine. So a matte finish is going to look something like this, where it doesn't have, once this dries down completely, it's not going to have any sort of shine to it. Mattes are really popular nowadays. If glosses were really popular in the 90s and the early 2000s, mattes are really popular now. Part of the reason is that they last really long throughout the day. Whether using a cream or a liquid format, it's going to last a lot longer throughout the day than a satin or a gloss. That being said, a liquid matte lipstick is going to last a lot longer than a cream matte liquid. But that again varies from brand to brand, line to line. But typically a matte liquid lipstick is going to last longer than a cream liquid lipstick. So what do you want to look out for when you're picking out a matte lipstick? Well, you want it to be opaque. Because if it's got no shine, no shimmer, no glitter to it, and it's only the pigment, you want the pigment to be there, right? So you want it to be opaque and you want it to be pigmented. You also don't want it to look patchy. So what does that mean? That means that when you apply it, it comes out in streaks. It takes a lot of work to really get a nice even finish, a nice even pigment on your lips. Basically, you don't want it to be hard to use. Another thing to look out for is if it's too dry, because matte doesn't have any sort of moisture in it, because moisture creates shine. So a lot of matte lipsticks tend to be really drying. That being said, when you have a matte lipstick, it's gonna be dry. So it's not gonna have the same feel to it as a satin or a gloss. So you can't really compare it to a satin or a gloss. However, if it's uncomfortable to wear, or it makes your lips feel dry and cracked by the end of the day, then you probably shouldn't be wearing that lipstick. That's something to watch out for. So let's talk about some of my favorite matte lipsticks. NYX really kills it when it comes to matte lipsticks. So a lot of my favorites come from NYX. And let's start off with the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream. This line is something that comes in all sorts of colors, and they're super pigmented, super easy to use, they last a long time throughout the day, and they're not uncomfortable to wear. That being said, they do sometimes transfer, so like if you're drinking from a mug or a cup or something, or you're kissing somebody, you might get a little bit of lipstick on that surface. That doesn't mean that they're gonna like come off really easily. They do tend to last very long throughout the day, and they're very comfortable to wear. So overall, these are a really great option for a matte liquid lipstick. Now, NYX has a line of it's just plain called matte lipstick. And these are the cream formulas, and these are super nice as well. They also come in a lot of different colors. They also wear for a long time through the day. They're super easy to use. They are super easy to apply. But like a cream and kind of like these, they are going to transfer when you drink out of a cup or something, but they're not going to get super messy, which is really nice. So these are a good option as well. So this is the NYX matte lipstick. Another one from NYX that I think has kind of mixed reviews, and this is a good example of one, personal preference, and also something to look out for, is the NYX Liquid Lingerie line. It's a matte liquid lipstick, and they classify these as ultra matte, which I think is a good classification because they are ultra matte. However, they tend to be drying. They do last a long time through the day. They do not transfer whatsoever. But I do find that by the end of the day, my lips kind of feel uncomfortable. But they do last a really long time. So it's kind of a trade-off. Like, do you want something that's going to last all day? Or do you want something that may be a little bit more comfortable but may not last all day? It's kind of a trade-off. So that's something to look out for. Let's talk about glosses. Now, glosses were really, really popular in the 90s and early 2000s, but that doesn't mean they're not popular today. In fact, I feel like you get a wide range of lip glosses now, more wide than I think than they used to have back in the early 2000s. So glosses are like the exact opposite of matte. They are high shine. They're not necessarily high pigment though. You're going to get a range of pigment. You're going to find some glosses that are more sheer and some glosses that are more opaque. Let me show you what I mean. So this is the L'Oreal Galaxy Holographic Lip Gloss, and this is one of the more sheer ones. So there you go, you can see it right there. It's high shine, but it doesn't have any pigment to it. If you look up close, it's got kind of a reflect, a kind of holographic sort of vibe where it's got a duochrome thing, iridescent thing going on, but it's not pigmented. But then you might get something like this one. This is the CoverGirl Colorlicious lipstick in the shade Berrylicious. So this one obviously has a pigment to it, but it's sheer. It's not nearly as pigmented as these two here next to it. And it's got a shine as well. So then you're going to get something like NYX's Intense Butter Gloss, which are high shine glosses, but they're also super pigmented and super opaque. Yeah. So it's still super shiny, but it's definitely comparable to the matte and the satin finishes. It's going to be a lot more pigmented. So we have kind of a range here, and you get kind of what you want. You can pick something that has some pigment to it but is still a little bit more sheer for a softer look. You can get something that has no pigment to it but gives you kind of a glitter or maybe even just the shine. Or you can get something that is opaque and pigmented but shiny. So what's nice about something that has no pigment to it, some glitter to it, or maybe just a slight pigment to it, is that they're really great for layering over the top of other lipsticks, especially over the top of matte lipsticks. I will say that I find it better to layer over the top of matte lipsticks than to layer over the top of satin finish, because they tend to kind of come off, whereas matte, the pigment's going to stay there, it's dry, so it's basically like putting a gloss over a dry coat of paint. But I think that's a really great application for them. So you're going to use something like this when you want something that's really pigmented but you want the shine. And then you're going to use something like this when you just kind of want a little bit of pigment but some shine, maybe a softer look, maybe a daytime look. and then you're going to use something like this layered over the top. Now you can use something like that on its own, and I think that's perfectly fine, but I think the most common application of it would be to put it over something else. Well, let's talk about satin finishes. So if matte has no shine, and if gloss is high shine, satin is somewhere in the middle. So it's going to be something that a little bit mimics your natural skin texture a little bit more. It may give you a little bit of shine, but not too much. So let me give you some recommendations of ones that I really like. So we swatched this one earlier. So as you can see, it's got a little bit of a shine to it, but not nearly as much shine as these glosses does. And that one is from the Revlon Super Lustrous Lipstick, and this is my favorite shade from this line. This is called Rum Raisin. So that's what that looks like right there. Some other lipsticks that I really like from that line that are a satin finish are the shades Mauve Night and Sassy Mauve. I think those are really great. I think those are really great summer to fall or winter to spring transition shades. A liquid lipstick option that tends to be more satin is the NYX Liquid Suedes. These are on the more matte end of satin, but they're not completely matte. So they're a little bit more comfortable to wear. They're a little bit more of a natural finish. They last a super long time, but they will transfer because they're not completely matte. So once this dries down, it's gonna have a little bit more of a matte finish. And this is in the shade Jet Set, and another color that I really like is in the shade Soft Spoken. Let me swatch that one for you as well. So as you can see, the blue is a very bold color, but this tends to be a little bit more neutral and a little bit more wearable. The last thing I want to talk about before we move on to talking about application is tinted lip balms. And I love tinted lip balms. They're a really great thing for just kind of just putting on right when you go out the door. And they also are very super moisturizing as well. So a tinted lip balm is exactly what it sounds like. It is a tinted lip balm. So it's like putting on chapstick, but it's got a tint to it. And the majority of them are going to be sheer, like that one. So this is the Burt's Bees Tinted Lip Balm in the shade Red Dahlia, which is probably my favorite shade of tinted lip balm. And then another one I have is the Burt's Bees Tinted Lip Balm in the shade Hibiscus. So as you can see, these have a little bit of a shine to them. They have very sheer pigment, but they're really, really nice for just adding a touch of tint to your lips. So I think those are really nice options if you don't want something that's super high maintenance. And as they fade, they're not going to leave you with weird patterns and weird textures on your lip. They're just going to fade very uniformly and naturally. A very good option for somebody who's on the go, who doesn't want something super high maintenance. Tinted lip balms are a good option for you. So let's talk about application. Now, before you even apply your lipstick, something that's really important is exfoliating. Now, do you have to exfoliate every day? No, you don't. But if you're applying a really bold lipstick color, or if you're applying a darker lipstick color, it's probably a good idea to exfoliate your lips, just because it'll give them, give your lips a smoother surface, and also helps the appearance and texture of the lipstick. That's a good idea if you are applying a lipstick where you really want the color or your lips to be the focus. Another thing to do is definitely moisturize your lips. So applying a lip balm to your lips before you apply lipstick or before you start doing your makeup is a good idea as well. Especially if you're doing a matte lipstick, because that can dry out your lips. So applying a lip balm underneath will help to keep your lips nice and moisturized. Lip glosses are probably the easiest ones to apply because they're usually very sheer, and so they don't take a lot of work. And if you make a mistake, it's really easy to wipe it off, or it's not going to show up very much because they tend to be lighter. Now, if you're applying something like that dark purple one that I showed you earlier, it's going to take a little bit more finesse. But for the most part, glosses are the easiest ones to apply. So I'm going to do the CoverGirl Colorlicious in the shade Berrylicious. And anytime when I'm doing lipstick, whether it's a gloss or a liquid or a cream, I like to start on my bottom lip and then do the top lip. I have no idea why, and that's kind of personal preference. Do what works for you. But I like to start in the center of my bottom lip and then kind of work my way down to the edge of my lip and then go up into the corners. So then when I go to the top, I like to start by making an X where my Cupid's bow is. So the Cupid's bow is this little V shape here. And so I start at the tip of one of those and make a line diagonally down, like that. And then I do the same thing on the other side to make an X. Like that. And that kind of helps to get the shape of your Cupid's bow. And then I like to do the outline of each of the sides, and then I fill in that side. So there you have it. You have some lip gloss on. Alright, so we did the lip gloss. So let's do a cream lipstick now. So I'm going to do that Revlon Super Lustrous lipstick in the shade Rum Raisin. And the nice thing about these is that they already have a shape that's meant to kind of conform to your lip shape. So you can use that to kind of help with your shaping of your lips as well. So again, I'm going to start on my bottom lip. And I start with the center. And then I like to flip it over so you get that point down towards the bottom. And I can kind of use that to get closer to the line. So there we have the bottom lip. And then I'm going to do my X again. But because this is a bigger thing, it's a little harder to do the X. But I kind of mimic that same motion with the entire thing, and that helps to fill it in. So I start up at the tip here of one of my peaks of my Cupid's bow, and I do a diagonal line down. Like that. Same thing on the other side. There you go. And then you just follow the line of your lips down on the sides. Now if you're having a little bit of trouble getting close to the line or getting a nice sharp line, using a lip brush can help. And this is usually a flat synthetic brush, a small flat synthetic brush. You can just get some of your lipstick on that. And use it to get nice and close to that line. And then you are left with something like that. Okie dokie, let's get on to the last application, which is a liquid lipstick, which is going to be very similar to applying a gloss. But it's going to take a little bit more finesse, especially if you're doing a darker shade. And this is part of the reason that I recommend using a cream first if you're brand new to lipstick. So this one I'm going to be using is the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink in the shade Poet. Again, starting with my bottom lip. The nice thing about these is that they have a triangular applicator shape, so the point is really nice for getting right up along the lines of your lips. There's the bottom lip. Now we're gonna do our little X. Like that. It's a little hard to see with this shade. And then we're doing just going along the lines. And there we go. There is the finished lip. Now, what happens if you mess up or you can't really get a sharp line? Well, taking a small brush and some concealer and going just along the edges there will really help to clean up and sharpen up your lipstick look. If you don't have a small enough brush or you don't have concealer, taking a makeup wipe and just taking like your nail or something and just going as close to those edges as you can will also help to clean it up as well. Alright, so that is all I have about lipstick. In case you're wondering, the color I'm wearing is the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink in the shade Amazonian. So let me know in the comments below if you have any other questions about lipstick. What are some of your favorite lipsticks? Do you prefer matte finishes or do you prefer glosses? Let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Also, I'd love to hear what you guys think I should do for my next Makeup 101 video. I really want to do what you guys want to hear about, so let me know what I should do in the future. Also, don't forget to check me out on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook at MUBY Mackenzie. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more Makeup 101 videos in the future. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Remember, makeup has no rules. They're more like guidelines, so you do you, boo-boo. Alright, see you next time, everyone. Karate originated in India. It's a cool fun fact. Oh man, I love me some Snapple. That one's not one of the intense ones. Whoops. Okay, let me go wash my hands off because I've got a lot of swatches on here. It's getting a little bit too much for me. I don't know how YouTube people do all these reviews on lipstick. All this taking on and off lipstick is making my lips tired. My goodness. Need some lip balm. That is good. Oh yes. Oh yes, that's Snapple. Honestly though, if Snapple wants to sponsor me, I'm so game. Like, hit me up with all that Snapple. Alright, so that is it for lipstick. In case you're... I don't have it with me.